Our recruitment efforts to hire 10,000 new ICE officers has been extremely successful, Lawrence. As of today, we have over 80,000 applicants for those 10,000 positions already. People and patriots across this country that say, we want to join, we want to help and be a part of this effort. It's overwhelming to see the amount of response and support that our ICE officers have gotten and people who want to join their ranks.
It was overwhelming, right? And you would think that with 80,000 applicants signing up for 10,000 ICE positions, which is the amount the former Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem wanted to fill, surely they vetted these individuals, right? Well, it turns out that if they did an absolutely horrible job of it, seeing as the ICE officer who killed Joan Sebastian Guerrero had a history of both mental illness and violent behavior. Now, if you're not up to date on this story, span of less than 1 week, ICE officers shot and killed 2 innocent men. There's Lorenzo Salgado Araujo in Texas and Joan Sebastian Guerrero in Maine. Salgado Araujo, a Mexican national, was in the process of getting a work permit after living in the United States for 35 years. In other words, he was trying to go about the system in the proper way. Guerrero was from Colombia, but was living in the US legally because he had a work permit. The names of the agents who killed Salgado Araujo have yet to be made public, but an investigation into his death is being launched by the state. That said, the ICE officer who allegedly killed Guerrero has been identified by his family and his ex-wives as David Brulette. According to an immediate relative and one of his ex-wives, Ashley Brulette, said he was, quote, extremely mentally ill. He was diagnosed with severe bipolar disorder and attention deficit disorder at a young age. He also attempted suicide twice at age 12 and was hospitalized multiple times. As he got older, things only got worse, especially after he was deployed to Afghanistan. Afghanistan destroyed him, trained him to be a killing monster, a machine. They took someone who was extremely mentally ill and turned him into a killing machine. That's from an immediate relative. David Brulette has a history of terrifying and violent behavior, according to those relatives. They accuse him of attacking women in his life over the years, and one shared a voicemail with the AP from last winter in which he told her that he thought someone should slit her throat. And all of you should have your effing throats cut. Yeah, you should. Am I threatening that I'm gonna do that? Nope, nope. But I do think that you should have your effing throats cut, or should have had them cut. Yep. Good Lord, what a guy. So he left that voicemail for his ex-wife, Ashley, who divorced David back in 2009 after he became violent with her while she was pregnant with their daughter. According to Ashley Brulette, he once threw boiling water at her while she was holding their child, an incident her mother, Avis Collins, also recounted. The abuse continued after she left him, she said. Also, it doesn't end there. I mean, this guy, incredible. Despite not having an official criminal record, hundreds of family court records obtained from the Augusta District Court Clerk's office detail years of allegations of physical and verbal abuse raised by his second ex-wife on behalf of herself and his daughters. The ex-wife, whom the AP is not identifying because she fears retaliation, alleged that he had stalked and harassed her and physically and verbally abused his daughter, according to multiple requests for temporary protection orders. Brulette tackled his teenage daughter and smashed spaghetti in her hair. And during another outburst, he dragged his daughter around the house as she cried, she said. This got so bad that in 2019, after she filed a complaint for protection from abuse against him, he was ordered to, quote, temporarily relinquish any firearms. But apparently, none of this is that important to the DHS, and they still find it within themselves to protect him. The Department of Homeland Security has not publicly identified the shooter, saying only that he has, quote, nearly a decade of federal law enforcement experience with required training, including use of force training. So just to be clear, he was not a newcomer. He'd been doing this for 10 years, and it wasn't the DHS that ID'd him, it was his family that did that. Ashley and their 18-year-old daughter told AP that he admitted such to them after they saw video of him after the shooting. I asked him why he did it. He said it was a justified shooting. The guy was trying to run him over with a car. He was asking if I could tell them that he was a good person and not to talk about the abuse and stuff that I had endured while with him. And he said that the most important thing is his character right now. So on that note, real quick, Sharon, can you give just a brief character assessment based on the information we have so far?
Psycho.
Okay.
Sociopath. Okay. I mean, have you ever heard of references? I mean, if you want to work at 7-Eleven, which is perfectly honorable, they would probably say, can we just call someone just to make sure? And I don't know, just do a little mini check before they allow you to sell a big gulp. This guy has a service weapon. He's been deputized as whatever. And now somebody's dead. Only the best people? This isn't it. Look, people have problems. We have to report sometimes on unfortunate things, mental health crises, trauma. You said Afghanistan, the service there. All that is not unexpected in the population. People have problems and we're not demonizing them. That's not even what this is about. This is about someone who should have never been in that uniform, staring down the public and killing someone. It's insane.
Yeah, and on top of the insanity, you also have the insanity of them protecting him and then going, oh, okay, well, I mean, it sounds to me like, hey, basically he's one of the bros and this is bros protecting bros, basically. And of course, it's also hard to know what actually happened that day because none of them were wearing body cams. Oh, wait, yes, they were. They just actually weren't turned on at all. So federal officers at the scene of a killing by US Immigration and Customs Enforcement in Maine were wearing body cameras, according to 4 ICE officials who reviewed images from the scene, but the cameras are on multi-function devices that ICE officers use as radio mics. ICE officials who spoke to The Intercept identified the accessories worn by ICE officers on the scene of the Maine shooting as Motorola SVX video remote speaker microphones, a wireless radio mic with one other important feature, a camera. Now, because of this contract with Axon, a law enforcement tech firm, ICE agents are only using these devices as mics despite them being designed to also work as body cameras. And since the cameras aren't supposed to work, they just kind of cover the lenses, I guess, just to be safe. So the SVX mics worn by ICE are designed to record internally, capable of storing over 100 hours of standard definition video, according to Motorola promotional materials and a technical support line. The video recording function on the SVX mic, however, requires a subscription. So what exactly is stopping ICE from just getting like a subscription, right? You know, they wanted to blame Democrats, right, for blocking this rollout of body cameras, but they already had body cameras. I also feel like this is maybe a good thing for Democratic leadership to consider, that when you're going, oh, let's just give them more body cams, there's a very good chance that they just won't be turned on. But Sharon, what do you make of this entire horrible situation?
Don't give them another dollar. And anybody who gives them 1 red cent more has to go as well. They're actually have become this like mafiosa organization, this lawless organization who does whatever they want, hides behind whatever they say, whatever they pivot on that day. I mean, this is insane. Now I have to teach you how to use like the cloud for your body cams or something. Turn them on. It should be, law. It shouldn't be discretionary, and we shouldn't have just anyone who wants to sign up to terrorize the public in uniform.
Yeah, it does make me question too what goes through somebody's head when they're trying to do this kind of job. I mean, I see like the memes online of folks being like, oh, this is just a bunch of people who couldn't hack it in the military. They couldn't hack it as police officers. So now they're doing this. There's kind of a high school bully kind of vibe to it. And I don't know, like for those officers or ICE agents who are decent human beings, and I assume there are some, I don't know how they handle this stuff, because this guy's immediately calling his ex and going, well, he was trying to run me over. And I don't know how that plays either, because that's just the tried and true excuse that they've been using this entire time. It kind of blows my mind that anybody is still able to deal with it, because we only know who this guy is due to the fact that his family said who he was. Like, they are not being transparent for the supposedly most transparent administration ever. And where are all of the other shooters, like the one for Alex Peretti and Renee and the gentleman in Dallas? Like, there are so many others, and they just seem to be swiping them all under the rug and going, well, don't worry about it. They're actually really perfectly trained, and maybe next time we'll turn on the cameras. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, there is no real training. And remember, we reported, I believe it was right here and across the network, about how training was kind of trimmed. We just want to get people onboarded right away. That's what Stephen Miller wants. Want to round them up, people with weed whackers and whose children are serving in the military and by any means necessary, including Renee Good, who was just dropping off her kids at school and decided to use her constitutional voice and say, I don't like what's going on here. Shot in the head.
Yep. I also appreciate that you brought up earlier the being deployed to Afghanistan and the trauma that occurs in that kind of situation, because historically it happens all the time. And we're also in another war right now where people are being sent there, and who knows how much ground invasion is going to take place. But the point is that like trauma happens when you send people into these kind of situations, and they come back and then they inflict that on their fellow citizens. And it's absolutely terrible.
Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.